Hello, everybody. I am making a tutorial here on how to template a car in ZMod, obviously for use in GTA. A lot of people have asked me how to do it, um, and also it's one of the things that I do that make me me is use different cars that people don't normally use for police vehicles. Um, So I guess we'll just jump right into it. First, you want to get, obviously, a Z3D of a vehicle. This right here is a Chevy SS, converted by Choco Taco. It's on his Patreon. Um, the only downside with the vehicle is it's not templated. Um, so first things first, you need ZMod. You need a Z3D of a vehicle. Um, and I like to work in this four-pane uh, window style. So if you're ever wondering how to do that, just go to View, Layout, Split Top Level, and four-pane cross. Um, that's how I work on everything. It's just what I'm used to. Some people do side by side. You could do whatever. Um, so first you want to go to your quadr, I don't know how it's actually pronounced. I just call it quad R. Um, Select your whole vehicle and then go into poly mode, and it's going to have stuff selected from the last time that somebody worked on it. So deselect it all and then select by material. You're going to want to find paint 1, and paint 2 is set to the brake calipers, so we don't need to worry about that unless you want to change that. But we're focused on the body shell and the body and making it so we can put a livery on. So you hit select and you notice that all of this stuff now is going to be selected on the car. Now hide everything and just go through and go. You're gonna want to go one by one. So in the chassis, usually in the chassis, you're gonna find the door jambs and like random pieces of crap that'll be in here. So he's got like the outline of the trunk or whatever it may be. Either way, so you're gonna go to modify, and then you're gonna go to detach. So you're gonna detach this. You notice in your hierarchy over here, near the bottom, it's going to have another separate chassis. So when we hide all, we hit chassis, it's just going to be that. So now we're going to go through, and obviously it's not going to be anything like a brake light. So you want to go through this list one at a time. You notice here we got the body shell. Click on poly mode. Now since you already selected everything, it's automatically going to be selected. So you're going to detach that as well. Hide all. Nothing in the interior. The doors, you want to do all these separately. So polygon mode, boom, detach, hide all. I'm going slower than I usually am. But once you do this quite a few times, you can do it really quick. Now the boot is going to have, I'll show you after, we're going to separate the top from the back. Because you want to, it's, however, when you map this, it's going to be the angle that you're mapping it from. Did I select that already? No, I didn't. So you don't want to do something from the top and then it kind of just like bleeds down the back of the trunk lid. Just double check. Sometimes you don't know what a misc is. So people will label parts as that. So now you go through, if you hold shift, you could select multiple at once. So obviously we are missing two things, which is going to be the bumpers. Like I said, it's already selected, hit detach. Bumper front, detach. Okay, now you're probably thinking, what do I do at this point? So now you're going to start, well, you're not actually not going to start mapping it yet. Now you want to separate things based on how you want them mapped. So obviously we're going to have to separate things on the body shell. Luckily this is a easier body shell to work with. Sometimes they're difficult, sometimes they're not. So I have my top mode over here, which is why I keep this. So we're going to go into poly mode again. We're going to deselect the whole thing. And then, so this is already kind of separated, so we don't have to worry about selecting poly by poly by poly by poly. We can literally go and select element and select that whole thing. And then we'll include, well, we don't have to include that, but for video's sake, I will leave this separate. We'll do that on a separate one. So we deselected that, detached I mean, and now the roof is gone. So now we're gonna select it again, poly mode again. We're gonna select just this, we're gonna detach that. Now we're going to go into poly mode again. And this area here, sometimes you can get it in separated mode, but you can tell we're still got some unselected polys. And detach that. Now you're gonna have quite a few body shells that are in here, which is what you want. And then finally, we're gonna quad R this again, polygon mode. We're gonna detach an entire side. Okay, so your body shell prep is done. Now the boots, let's just hide all this. Boot, trunk, whatever you want to call it. We're going to deselect the whole thing, and what I like to do is go into the back view so I can see the back. I'll try it in separated, and for the most part it usually works. So as you can see, it's separated the back of the vehicle, the parts that you want. You know, if you want, like, I don't know, police written right here on the back, you'll be able to do it instead of it being all jank and stuff. So we're gonna detach that. Now, as you can see, it's got that just separated. You might have some mishmash junk here. I don't ever put anything on the top of a trunk lid. Well, if I do, it's very rare. So, now, what do you do from here? Bring everything back up, quad R, and make sure it's all selected. So, it just makes it easier if it's all selected. Otherwise, you're going piece by piece and selecting things and blah, 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 blah. Just trust me. Now, hide all again. Now we're going to go and figure out each side first. I always do the sides first, and I'll explain why once I get to it. So this right here, when we click on that one, it's obviously going to be the passenger side, so we're going to get the passenger side doors as well. And then you're going to want to select right. But what I do is, so it's going to, however you have it on your pane up here, is the size that it's going to come down over on here in regards to how you want it templated. It's easier to show you rather than explain it. So make sure that you like reset how it was viewed. So once you got that, be a pain in the ass what it's doing. You're going to want to go to mapping. You're going to edit the UV. Now, very important, your template is going to be on channel 2. So make sure you have edit UV channel map number to 2. It's going to generate a new one. So make sure you click on generate new from viewport XY and force it onto a default material. So you hit OK. And it apparently wanted to be an asshole. So really quick, we'll just redo that. There we go. Now you take it, select it, go to modify, move, I move it straight to the bottom. I leave it that size, and then I deselect it. Because the reason why is when I flip this to the left side, I get everything for the doors and the body shell over there. Now I go through and I map this side here, select it, notice it's the same size. So it's a very, very, very important piece. I hate doing 2 different size liveries or something like that. You go through, you make some sort of fancy stripe, and then you copy it and you flip it and it's a different size. It's a nightmare. So now with both sides there, I'll go through, I'll scale it up a little bit. Keep it in that square, and now deselect it. From here, you're just going to go through and you're going to make sure that everything is going to be templated. So your door jambs and stuff, you don't have to worry about those. So I'm going to take the door jambs. They don't have to be separated. You're going to want them the same color of your body, pretty much. But if I templated them into here, then your liver would be on these, and it's just weird looking. Sometimes it's unavoidable. So I'll take that, I'll scale it way down so it doesn't take up a lot of space, and I'll just put it over here. So now the chassis is done. So it's easier to keep track of your stuff. So I know I've done the doors, the 2 body shells, etc. Now we go through with our bonnet. We find our part of the body shell that is the roof. And the boot top of the lid, which is going to have these pieces, whatever, it doesn't matter. So, like I said, it's always going to be from the angle that you do it at. So from here you're going to want to switch to top, edit the UV, and once you select it to channel 2, it's going to stay at that, all the things that you selected before. So we're going to take this, we're going to scale it down a little bit, move it to the side of the template. Now what I like to do is switch to just the y-axis, deselect the hood, move this down, deselect the roof, move this down, and now that should be all on the template once you get to it. I'll deselect all this stuff. You want your rear bumper. We look at it from the back. The other part of our boot. So then this is all one nice fancy piece here. We're going to map this. I like to have a larger size rear bumper because, you know, I like to put police and stuff like that on the back. So try to save as much space as you can on your template. We're going to do front bumper, front view, mapping, edit, okay. Move this over and over. Scale it up to match if you want, doesn't matter. And if you remember, we had the little antenna. So, for video's sake, we'll map the antenna separately. So now that it's mapped separately, if you wanted to make it like black or a different color than the body itself, you can. You could just color the whole thing and boom, you're done. Now from here, you can also do things. So if I wanted to map the door handles separate, I could. I would just do what I did before with separating stuff. I would do it for each door. However, realistically, there's no police trim for an SS, at least that I know of. And yeah, it doesn't matter to me. So hide this. Now we're going to select everything. Just take a mental note. Look at your template. Look at this. Sometimes you'll be able to spot something if you miss it. Deselect over here, and then select your whole template. Make sure that all of this is shown right here. And now you're going to render it. So I do it in 4K. I don't care about underlying textures, anything like that. So you're going to go through, you're going to render your template. And what this does is everything that you just did is going to be on an image. So you can save it to, we'll do SS sign 1. The reason why it's sign 1 is so you can have multi-livery on a vehicle. So it'd be SS sign 1, and then if you had another one, it'd be SS sign 2. It goes up to like 8 or something like that. It saves it as a DDS. DDSs are dumb in my opinion. So I'm going to go to my file that I had once I find it here, and I'm going to open it. So as you can see, here it is on a paint.net. I use paint.net pretty much only to open up DDS files and save them as PNGs. Now from there I go into Photoshop. I will go to that PNG. I'll open that PNG. I will double check the image to make sure it's an RGB color. And then from there you can make a livery, etc., etc. We're not going to make a livery, we'll just keep the wireframe on there, or the vertexes, or whatever the fuck they are. So from here you can close this out. And now we have to put everything back together again. However, what I do is I double check to make sure, so this is all on car paint. So this is another key important part. You go to your materials, you find your car paint, right here. You're going to click on it, you're going to click on this little green Pac-Man, go to GTA 5, Vehicle Paint, and go to Vehicle Paint 3. From there it's going to switch, you're going to see a little change. Open up your material, and the reason why it did that is now it has detail 2. We're going to add the sign here. It's going to come in at the bottom. We're going to hit OK, and now you can see in the background it's all pretty much there. In addition to this, I also switched this to diffuse 3. I don't know why. I just don't, but I do it anyway. You can see that the template itself is rendered and on the vehicle. So you don't, sometimes if you have, like let's say a chrome bumper, you can add that bumper and then change the material to the car paint once you template it. And then you can, you know, have it so it's not a chrome bumper, and it's there. So we're auto-saving. Autosave, it's a pain in the ass, but eventually, over time, it will save you. It's saved me multiple times. Now, we're going to deselect everything, and then we're going to hide everything. We're going to pull up the body shell pieces. Oops. I'm going to go to... I don't remember if I templated that piece right there. I didn't. That's good. You can see something that I mess up on. So mapping, edit UV. We're going to take this piece. So it's already mapped. I don't need to worry about templating that piece. Unless somebody will find a mistake somewhere at some point. But we want this to be the body color. There's no template over here, so we're just going to move it there. Then we're going to hide it. We're going to go through, and we're going to rebuild the body shell. So, get your attach tool, and with everything deselected, as I make a bad example, start attaching everything. No, it's going to start disappearing off the template. Don't worry about that. Take our body shell. Now you can have something like selected to attach, and then you can hide it. It's still gonna be selected. You know, as soon as I attach, boom, it's all gonna show up. We're gonna take this chassis piece. So all we're doing is just a painful process. Yeah, nothing's worse than when you find like a vehicle and you want to like make a police car out of it, and then you realize it doesn't have a template. So and always make sure you're attaching your templated piece to the part you detached it from originally. So now we hit show all. You're going to see here that this vehicle is now templated. Hopefully this video helps. I know when I was originally starting to make vehicles, there was like one video out there that was about templating, and I had a hard time following along with it. So if it did, been waiting my whole life to say this, give this video a like. Maybe I'll have more videos, maybe I won't, depends how this one does. Maybe we can do this whole car together. We'll see. Peace.